why the Quran did not enforce the law retroactively. And so it gave to the money lenders a certain amount of time for the milk of human kindness to come out, and so that they would voluntarily turn away from money lending. And only after this period has been exhausted and they had had sufficient time, and only those who are now left behind as money lenders who could not be touched by the moral argument, only then did revelation finally come down. Now it is to be retroactively enforced. And whosoever does not give it up, wage war on him. Because if you do not eradicate riba from the economy, you will eventually be enslaved. Why? This terrific insistence on riba, adultery, fornication in the Quran, and the punishment is only a public lashing, a public beating. A fellow thief, punishment is only cut off your hand. So if we enforce that law in the world today, have plenty of Manhattan bankers who go walk around without hands. White collar thief. Why this prohibition of lending money on interest? To answer that question, we now go beyond the first contrast between riba and charity to the second contrast. No, riba and charity and riba and business, yeah. Allah says in the Quran, in that last revelation, He says, "Ahallallahu al-bay'a wa harrama al-riba." Allah has made riba prohibited, and Allah has made business permissible. And so we now have a second contrast with which to understand the subject. The contrast is no longer between riba and charity. The contrast is now between riba and business. In what way is lending money on interest different from business? Okay. What is the definition of a business transaction? What is there which is at the essence of business, which is not there in riba? That's right. The essence of a business transaction, as every businessman, every honest businessman will tell you, is that in business you could make a profit or you could suffer a loss. That is business. You could either make a profit or you could suffer a loss. So if you have a business in which you are immunized from loss, you're shaking your head now? You are immunized from loss. They call them risk-free investments. You could only make profit, you can't suffer loss. That ain't business. How damaging is it when we allow people to bypass the market? Market mean business. Market mean profit or loss. They bypass the market and they want their money to grow. The answer is, it is only when you enter into the market and you assume risk that the Lord in the heaven will now take from some and give to others. One day for me, and one day for you. And so today you might be rich, but tomorrow the Lord can make you poor. And today you might be poor, but tomorrow the Lord can make you rich. When there is risk in investments, in business, then the Lord, not the government, the Lord can cause wealth to circulate through the economy. Now that is the most important sentence I've uttered for the whole day today. This one. That the Lord can allow wealth to circulate through the economy. And when wealth circulates through the economy, one day for me and one day for you. And so the poor will not remain permanently poor. And so the rich will not remain permanently. It's so simple. And when money is lent on interest, in defiance of the law which came from above, he's not going to change it. No. When money is lent on interest, then the money lender immunizes himself from loss. He even wants to immunize the risk that you might not be able to pay back. So what do? Take a mortgage on your house. Take a mortgage on your car. Take a mortgage on anything he could take. So that in the event that you can't pay back, he going to get back your money plus the interest. And so now, in an economy based on riba, wealth will no longer circulate through the economy. Rather, the rich will remain permanently rich, and the poor will remain permanently poor. To the extent that riba takes control of the economy. But you could lose your money in other ways. Even though you have immunized yourself from loss by lending it on interest rather than investing it in business. Even though you have a mortgage to back you up, you could still lose your money. The rich could still become poor. How? And Paul has been nearly burned down the other day. Yes. Natural disasters can take place. Your ship could sink. So what do the rich do? Say it a little louder, man. Yes. Yes. Insurance is not there to protect the poor. You believe that buy a one-way ticket to Hollywood. Insurance is not there to protect the poor. Insurance is there primarily to immunize the rich from catastrophic losses. What happens when your neighbor house burned down? This is what used to happen. The whole village would come together and we'll roll up with sleeve and we go and try to build for our neighbor. My neighbor in Shaughnessy house burned down. I remember. And we were boys and we went and we built a shack for that family. It took us only a weekend, I think, or 2 weekends. Yeah, the whole village came together. We built them a nice shack. And all the women will come together and try to get some clothes and food so that the family has the basic necessities of life. This is our social obligation and our moral obligation when someone suffers catastrophic losses. To bring them back from zero to that state where the basic necessities of life are provided for them. Not more than that. But he suffered a $10 million loss. because the whole warehouse burned down. And guess what the insurance company do? They take the 10 million from we, and we premium now, and they double it up to make 20 million. And then they give 10 million back to the fellow who lost his 10 million. They put another 10 million in his pocket. So who is ripped off? We. Because in the system that we had before, what we do is to return to him only that which was necessary to fulfill his basic necessities. And so the fabric of society is strengthened when all the members of the community come together to help the one in need. Insurance do away with that. The society don't have to come together anymore to help the one who is in need. Now it's every man to himself. And who has no insurance policy will crap a smoky pipe. And so insurance has come as a sister of riba in order to immunize those who are rich from loss. At the heart of this is that there is a law in the heavens above that if you didn't plant, you can't reap. If you didn't plant, you can't reap. When you lend money on interest, you're planting, but you're reaping. I wonder how. If the law of the heavens is that if you didn't plant, you can't reap, he ain't planting, but he reaping. How do you explain that? You mean? Answer? He reaping what others planted. He's living off the sweat of others. And so the money lender transformed the market into a market of donkeys who sweat and who work at, of course, minimum wage so that he could enjoy himself. Slavery. If you didn't plant, you cannot reap. Banks do not plant, but they reap the most. How? They reap what others are planting. Take it on. And so now we come to the end of this session, in which I hope I've been able to explain with simplicity and clarity what is riba in the Quran, why has it been prohibited, and what would be the consequences of our allowing the moneylender to take control of the market. Well, this is what has happened around the world today. The moneylender has taken control of the market around the world. Tomorrow, governments are redundant. Yeah. Governments will be as redundant tomorrow as the West Indian cricket team is today. Tomorrow, governments will be redundant because Massa will be sitting in Jerusalem. He was sitting in London yesterday. He's sitting in Washington today. He'll be sitting in Jerusalem tomorrow. And he rules the world from Jerusalem. And these governments, including the PNM government, will be just rubber stamps. Except the UNC will be a double rubber stamp. If this is the state that we are in today, what should we do about it? How should we respond? This, inshallah, will be our next session. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم برحمتك يا